to everyone. So I'm so happy to be seeing everyone here and happy to join us too. We also have participants from our Global Action Circle. We have Mokake in the building. We have Florence. We have Savior in the building. We have Teddy. We have a lot, and I'm sure, like, just listening to their presentation, we are going to see how the dots connect. I don't want to spill the tea yet. I don't want to see everything, but I know from listening to their stories, from listening to their conversation, we are going to see how the dots connect. You're going to see that hope I'm talking about. You're going to see how it reflects in what they are talking and what they are sharing. Yeah. So who's ready? Are you ready? I want to increase the expectations. I want to increase everything. So thank you so much. So we have like a very easy approach here. So we're just going to go with the presentation, and after a presentation, we're going to get about presentation is 5 minutes, and after presentation, we get about 2 minutes feedback from the judges, and after the feedback, we move to the next presentation. Then when we're done with all the presentation, and we all can ask them questions and give our general feedback and remark. Does that work well, everybody? Are we good with that? Yeah. So thank you. So before I introduce the first speaker for today is the correct guy. Let me use that word. This is a safe space, so I will say that the correct guy. That these are some of our terms in our circle. So I'll introduce Mokake, and Mokake, just give me a minute to read this introduction, his bio. Yeah, so Mokake, also known as Nolis, his presentation aims to tackle the pressing issues of food security and ecosystem restoration by combining community-driven solutions, sustainable practices, and innovation strategy to empower marginalized groups and build resilience against climate change. So I'll be the one in charge of the presentation. I'll be like showing the slides, and the presenter will just go on with their presentation. I think that works well, so that we could make best use of time. Okay, I will try to do that. I'll try to do that. Please, can I just have permission to present? Okay. Okay, I can do that. I can. So I'm just presenting. Just give me a moment to present my screen. Um, yes, let's get right into it. Can you see my screen, please? Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, let me just begin the slideshow. So, Nolis, once I begin the slideshow, you can kick off your presentation. Can you try talking?
Yes,
Nolis?
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, you are good, right? So I'll just begin
Yes.
the slideshow. Your time start now. Perfect.
All right, thank you. Hello, everyone. I am Deepen Mokake from Cameroon, and I'm a YxY activist at the Global Action Circle. Thank you. My learning question, Brado, next slide. My learning question so far with this journey is how can we effectively scale sustainable agro-food processing and preservation techniques in crisis-affected communities to combat climate change and enhance food security. It has been a great journey so far, and I would like to show more of what I've done. Next slide, Brado. My project aims at is an initiative which aims at empowering smallholder farmers and internally displaced women and youth in our community, the Bonavada community. Imagine a whole community, including I and my hunter father, relying on forest resources like animal hunting, cutting down of trees, and all the like for decades now. So this has been a long problem, and it has been affecting us. Deforestation, extraction of species, animal, wildlife, which has affected our soil and crop yields. Now, in the way of immediate solution, the ongoing crisis in Cameroon began. It brought to the forefront the economic downturn. It brought about hunger, starvation, lack of skills. So my initiative aims to raise awareness and train locals in organic farming, food processing, and establish tree nurseries in order to combat climate change and reduce reliance on donations. Next slide, Bolado. So why are you trying to achieve with this project? So far, I want to achieve empowerment through skill development, empowering the internally displaced women in organic farming and food processing to become empowerment and self-sufficient, and also environmental restoration. By organic farming and agroforestry, we are able to restore the forest and replenish what has been degraded. Also, food insecurity. By our organic farming and food transformation, the inhabitants, internally displaced persons, can reduce the rate of malnutrition and have sufficiency, reducing food insecurity. Thank you, Bolado. Next slide. So far, what I have done is that I have been able to train over 500 smallholder farmers and internally displaced farmers in our community, constructing over 5 community nurseries, which have planted about 15,000 trees in our community, and also encourage the formation of local wildlife conservation groups, which has encouraged safeguarding of 17,000 indigenous trees in our Bodavada community. During my time with the Global Action Circle, this is what I have been able to do so far with the project. How does it impact you? Growing up, imagine a guy like me growing up in a countryside, in a farm settlement around the Bonavada community. I experienced hunger and malnutrition due to climate change and the ongoing civil unrest. It affected our crop yields and livelihood. So this experience motivates me to combat these challenges globally, leading me to my search right to the Global Action Circle. Thank you. Next slide, brother. How does your solution contribute to solving this issue? Yes, my solution contributes to solving this issue by restores degraded ecosystems. Ecosystem that has been degraded, affected by our unsustainable reliance, we come in to restore them through agroforestry and organic gardening. Also, it addresses food insecurity. It comes into organic farming and food transformation, reduce food insecurity by training these women. It also empowers marginalized groups, internally displaced women that have found themselves in our community, to become self-sufficient and reduce their level of dependence in donation. It also promotes climate resilience, awareness in the community, making the inhabitants to become environmental stewards. Next slide. Thank you. So far, these are images of what we have been doing, the trainings I have been able to catch up over my 5 months of learning with the Global Action Circle. Fast, Bolado, the next slide. I'm going to. Next slide, please.
That's the last.
No.
Oh, sorry. More picture.
Yeah, it should go down. These are all the slides. Go down to what I need to achieve. Go down. So far, what I need for this project is funding support to be able to enhance and scale our project, and also connections and collaboration with expert mentors to guide us with this project, like-minded activists in conservation and agroforestry, and media visibility with the Global Action Circle and other support. We can have media visibility for our project. What I will do with $250 grant, if given, I will be able to purchase tools, materials, and seasons to enhance our trainings, like raw materials for the processing, though farmers donate, and also facilitate training, enhance transportation of activities, establish a demolition plot. In as much as we have been given a farm settlement by community in our villages, we need the funds, the $250 to set up, to buy local produce, local material, to set up our demolition plot for our energy production of our trees, energy side, and buy plastic. Also, community outreach. These funds will help to carry out community awareness and outreach to reach about other communities nearby our community and expose our, discuss our activity, what we are about to do with it, by purchasing banner and placards. So far, thank you. I hope for the best. This is what I have to present. And my learning so far with the Global Action Circle have taken me to this level, and I've learned a lot, and I look forward to keep on doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
The end of my project.
Thank you so much for the presentation, Knowles. I will just take a feedback from the judges. I don't know if K-Factor Chibije has something to say to you.
You want to go for sister? I think you should.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much, Mokake. It's really inspiring to listen and see what you've been up to. It's incredible what you have achieved in these five months of being in the GSC circles. And I was very inspired by your passion and how you connected it to your own experiences. And that really made it clear that this is something that you care about. I really loved how you were able to chronologically tell us, why this issue, what is it that you want to do and how you want to do it. That came out very clear, and I really loved that. Maybe just something to think about as you go out there is think about the big change after this $250 and the outreaches and the trainings and all those things. What is the big picture? What, after your small community that you're working with, what else do you look into? Do you want to expand this at some point? What other resources could be available for you within that community, but also outside Youth by Youth? Again, that's not something that maybe you would have brought up here, but it could be something that you think about moving forward. Otherwise, I'm very impressed and inspired by your presentation. You are very clear and audible. I'm very glad that you prepared so well for this session. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll look forward to that.
Nice presentation, Mukake. I love the traction, just like Esther have mentioned. I think you were able to like present your traction really well, which shows like things that you've been able to do, with the resources you have. What I would have loved to see is I would have loved to see you like you brought the story into the middle instead of the beginning. I would have loved to hear that story that you shared in the middle. I would love to have added from the beginning, and then connecting that story to a larger data set, so that the problem can be clear. I think you also have like the 5 minutes to enjoy and have fun as well with the presentation. So also like I think there's a need to like also take it easy in between the presentation because you've got another 5 minutes. I've been in like a 3 minute speech as well where I know that I have to rush, but I'll just be like, I only got 3 minutes. Let me just enjoy the presentation, or the pitch. I mean, you did your best, which is amazing, and it really shows through. Like your passion shows through everything you were saying. So I think that you were very, very passionate. Like I could sense that you love this and you love this work. I would say that maybe use more of pictures instead of text because we are reading a lot of text, with your slides. So maybe if you can use pictures instead and a bit of text to actually like communicate your thoughts, I think that will be better. So you may maybe in the future you may use maybe Canva designs that are already existing on Canva to actually design your slides and use more of pictures and ways to communicate because people might just be reading and they will not listen to what you want to say. And you want actually people to listen to what you want to say rather than read what you have on the screen. So yeah, overall, I think that would be my feedback. But this is amazing. I really love the presentation. I think another thing you may want to do is that breaking down the budget and adding the cost to it as well. What cost will go to each budget in between? And as like Esther mentioned, how do you plan to raise future funds if you're thinking of sustaining, this initiative as well, because I think one of the things that we kind of like get to miss is the revenue model. So how do you want to continue to generate revenue? How do you want to continue to like, it might not be like selling some, but would you be selling something? Or even how would the community sustain their project themselves through the farming, organic farming? So what are the processes of sustainability for them as well as as a community? group that you're supporting. So yeah, but well done, well done. I'm deeply inspired by you. Thank you so much for sharing.
All right.
Thank you so much, Ahmed, for your comment. That we'll move to the next presentation, which is
I
Savior.
thought I could say something.
You want to say something?
No, that's fine. I'll have to answer some of the judges by the end of the thing. I got it. Thank you.
Okay, by the
I'll
end.
answer their questions by the end.
Thanks for that. So moving on to Savior. Savior, are you ready? So Savior is a Gen Z change maker. Yeah, a young and booming change maker in Nigeria. And our learning question is, how might we redesign the learning journey of teenagers on nature and environment to build eco-consciousness? And I'll be sharing our presentation. And once I share our presentation, she could go. Savior, are you here? Are you on the call? Savior?
Yes, yes, I'm here.
Okay, so I'll be sharing a presentation. Once I start, then you could, once you can see my screen, then you could kick off. Just a minute. Yes, you have the floor, Savior.
Thank you. Hey, good day, everyone. It's great to have this opportunity to share on my project. So, my name is Saviour YxY. I'm from Lagos, Nigeria, and I'm also part of the GAC Climate and Nature Education cohort. And so, I'd like to start by sharing a little bit about my journey. And so, I grew up obviously in Lagos, which is an urban city, which faces several environmental challenges, with, I mean, a bit of nature, feel to it. But what I do want to share really is growing up in Lagos. As a child, I was faced with a particular health situation, which was triggered by strong smells, loud sounds, and flashlights. I believe some people can already guess what I'm talking about. But so growing up in Lagos with that kind of health issue, I was really, irritated most times walking through the road and people are burning waste, or, just the smells that come from waste pollution. It was so appalling to me. And so I wanted to do something about it. And at the age of 15, I took my first step of action. And at that time, I was in high school and I wanted to engage other students, other people who, in quote, looked like me, to join me to start cleanups so that, I just wanted the place less smelly, you know. And I saw that instead of getting a positive and excited response, most people started mocking me. If you're in Lagos, you probably know, when I say they used to call me Loki Loma in secondary school. And so I would still go ahead and say I'm going to do it. But then when I organize these cleanups, I'll have really low turnout or it'll be just my family, right? And so I wanted to, so seeing how teenagers were not so, they were not really embracing that whole idea of the environment, that is what really led me to asking my learning question: how might we redesign the learning journey of teenagers on nature and environment to build eco-consciousness? So I'll go to the next slide. Thank you. And so in order to tackle this, I thought about the Youth for Planet initiative, which seeks to engage young people, teenagers especially, to reflect, engage, explore, and repeat, right? And in that sense, we wanted to build environmental awareness. And our goal basically is to help increase knowledge and interaction with nature to help decrease inaction and anxiety, and basically just reflecting on the challenges, engaging with solutions, and exploring nature in order to build a higher level of consciousness and concern for the environment. So the next slide, please. So basically, our model, just like we said, in order to engage people more with nature and environmental challenges, will increase knowledge and interaction to decrease anxiety, eco-anxiety, and inaction for the planet. So the next slide. So what have I done? I've created a landing page and a sign-up form for this. And I've also taken time to research out several nature areas in Lagos and Ogun State that would be great spots for young people to engage with nature and also learn more about the environment. And also, I'm through my organization, Team Illuminate, I'm building a community of young people and also pushing for environmental education in high schools. Next slide. Next slide. Thank you. And so what kind of support am I seeking? I'm seeking for young people to sign up to be a part of the Youth for Planet Club and also to publicize the work that we do in order to reach the right audience, schools, teenagers, youth, or potential partners. And then also you could volunteer to facilitate sessions when we have nature trips or host a session maybe in your city, country, kind of replicating what we do. Okay, then next slide. Okay, so with a $250 grant, I kind of wanted to use these pictures to show what it could look like, from teenagers who would mock someone who wanted to take action to teenagers who engaged with climate education, went on nature excursions, and felt the need to take action because they were now concerned. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Can we celebrate Savior? So
Amazing, Savior.
Yeah, we receive feedback from the judges. Okay, yeah, Chebujira, if you're on. Sure.
Okay. Thank you very much, Xavier. That was really good. And at a personal level, I feel like that's a very needed thing, even in my context. The young people, the Gen Zs are, we are the majority. I'm saying we because I'm looking into the team, but yeah, and it is their future that is at stake. So I feel like it's a very needed topic, and your question is very urgent. Of course, just like any other climate issue, is very urgent. I personally loved how you started with your story. I think that was brilliant. And like Ahmed had mentioned previously, storytelling is a good way to capture audiences and, to have people go with you in the journey. But then it's very important that you do it right. When you mentioned that Lagos, there are a lot of climate challenges. For people who haven't been to Lagos, we were waiting for you to mention for us a few of those ones that you meant. And that didn't really come out. And I hope that next time when you tell your story, you'll be more specific. What exactly are you talking about? But then you also used some slang. I don't know. You said they used to call you something. And I think that was PG or Yoruba or something that you mentioned it in. For the audience here, we really didn't know what you meant. So a bit of context would have kept us at the same pace. It's very possible to lose people at that point because they're like, okay, I don't know what she's saying. So now I'm lost. So if you choose to use stories, it's very important that you're doing it well. And it can be a very powerful way to get support for your work. I loved the beautiful pictures that you used. I think that it's a very good way to draw a picture of what you want to say. And one thing that I wanted to say is that I know you might have planned to do it, but what you want to do with the grant didn't really come out very well. I don't know, because somebody was telling you in the chats that you have 1 minute to go, and so you at some point rushed. So maybe next time, Ahmed said, have fun with the 5 minutes, but also be considerate on where you want to put emphasis in your presentation. In this case, the emphasis would be the grant and what you want to do with the grant. And so we're looking forward for some very actionable steps, like with the $250, I'm going to train 50 Gen Zs in Lagos on this and this and this. We're going to take nature walks. I'm hoping that I will have 500 people sign up in our platform and things like that can be quantifiable. But also, like I said to the other speaker, draw a big picture. Like, we want to see what happens after the 250, after this training. So what next? Let's say Xavier is not there even to continue this work. What happens? Will the project just die? Sustainability. What is your plan to sustain the project? Even when you leave Lagos, how will this continue? Or even, we know that $250 is not enough to do the work that you just showed us in the pictures. So what is your other plan? And if you can slot that in, it can be very convincing. Otherwise, thank you very much and good luck. You're doing good work. Thank you.
It seems like Esther, you've covered all the comments I had. So I would just probably like keep it very, very short. Again, I love the story you shared at the beginning. I know what you mentioned when you said Loma. So, but like Esther said, you could have, offered us some context to that. I think, this is just for everybody as well. I think it's very important for you to perfect your pitch. And perfecting your pitch is that before you can kind of like come here. Obviously you've practiced, but really, really practice each slides. How many minutes do you want to even use in each slides as well as you go through? I think that is very, very important. So perfect your story, like Esther mentioned. I think you focused a lot on the problem that you didn't get to talk about your solution. And I think one of the things that used to happen in pitches is that most times people are not just focused on the problem, they're interested in the solution as well. So you need to think of like, because I wanted to learn more about that nature, like what are students actually learning in nature? What's that process? Where do they get that spark from when they get into nature? So that experiential learning and experiences, that they get to learn. And I think, that's something you want to sell to us, basically, because I really love that nature workshop. Like I would do it, I would sign up for it. So I think, just thinking about that as well would be great. But I love the call to action as well in the end. I think, you also ended with like something like a story. And I think that was incredible as well. So I really, really loved the call to action in the end. But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Ifato Ahmed. Yeah, and so Teddy is coming up next. Teddy, are you on the call? Can you say something? Teddy?
Jambo.
Okay. So I'll just briefly introduce Teddy before I share his presentation. So Teddy is a farmer from Kenya, and his learning question is, how can we elevate food systems for indigenous and vulnerable communities? How can we elevate food systems for indigenous and vulnerable communities? So I'm going to share the presentation comments once I share it. Start. Teddy, over to you. You have the floor. Teddy, are you there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
No.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. I'm Teddy Katono from Kenya. I come from a fishing community from deep in Lake Victoria, and what brought my land acquisition is that in our community, fishing was the dominant source of food, and currently with overfishing, there's less fish. Also, from deforestation that has occurred in our area for charcoal burning has really brought a lot of drought, and rains really fail currently. Next. Bolabo next. Can you hear me, Bolabo?
Yeah, I'm on the next slide. Any question?
Oh, okay. Thank you. Sorry, my internet is a bit slow. So, from my learning question, my main objective was since I'm from an indigenous community, we improve. How could we improve indigenous food systems and food security through agroforestry and kitchen gardening? Agroforestry in the sense of planting fast-growing fruits such as passion, pawpaw, and at the coastal part of Kenya, coconuts. And there are fruits like
And
guavas
please,
that
can you be more vocal, please? We can barely hear you. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me now?
Perfect.
Yes, I was saying through we would like to improve food security and help indigenous communities generate income through agroforestry and kitchen gardening. Agroforestry in the sense that we plant fruit trees such as pawpaw and passion. These are fast-growing fruit trees, and also through kitchen gardening where households can plant leafy greens and generate some income. And also, we intended to build the youth and women capacity by empowering them with climate smart permaculture knowledge to diversify food systems, improve nutrition in the households, and also generate income. Moving next, yes, my problem is, as earlier stated, fishing communities along Lake Victoria and also Indian Ocean. They usually have some of the highest levels of malnutrition and constipation. This is due to harsh and drought-prone climatic conditions, and the soils are always shallow and nutrients poor, mostly coral scrag and rocky. These generally affect food security and production of nutritious food. Uh, with very less and limited green vegetables produced, contributing to a poor balance in household nutrition. As USAID has stated there, Kenya, we rank a low at number 128 out of 157 countries in meeting the SDGs, especially achieving SDG 2, which addresses hunger. And those who are affected in my community are youth, children, women, and the elderly community members. Women, in a sense, that they're the ones who they are mostly involved in farming and food production and also preparing the meals. So when the meals are limited, it's hard to prepare something for the kids. So they really struggle. And moving next. Yes. Now to what my project entails. See, I studied permaculture in 2019, and I noticed that through permaculture, we can really improve food security and improve nutrition in our communities. Through my permaculture experience, over 4 years of trials in addressing the nutrition situation that is really dire in our society, I've worked in different parts of Kenya, in Rift Valley, Western Kenya, coastal part, and Nyanza, which is near Lake Victoria. And mostly households face the same problems, which is food insecurity, nutrition issues, and even though there are a lot of trials of the government, a lot of information, generally households need to be empowered to generate their own food and especially organic food. Currently, there's a challenge of hybrid seeds, which lead to a lot of usage of synthetic fertilizers and biocides. So, what I've done so far, I've worked with over 350 households training them on these systems on climate smart gardening. Mostly we find these households through churches and schools. And I've also worked with 7 schools, training school children on conservation. We established nurseries and demonstration gardens where they learn and also demonstrate back at home. So far, we've had 6 community demonstration gardens in Rusinga and Mbita area, and also generated incomes from these communities. Moving forward, next slide, please. Bulabo, next. Next slide, please.
Can you see
Yes,
this?
so these are, yes, thank you. Sorry, I have a network problem. So what our solution addresses is food and nutrition security. We also generate income from the sale of surplus vegetables, promoting climate resilience through indigenous crops, which also enable sustainability. And what I would need is some financial support to upscale these solutions, and also collaborations and partnerships to enhance our impact and help in production of educational material for distribution in the community, and also maybe a mentor, someone with experience from similar work. What I would do with $250, maybe purchase a rainwater harvesting tank, one for demonstration garden, which is really water, have very limited water, and also source seeds and farm tools, and produce some educational material for outreach. So these are some of the photos from what I've done. Some tree planting, and we promote planting of vegetables in sacks and containers. So these are some of our impact. There's a school here, some papayas that we give to our community, yeah, and greens from some of our farms from the women I've worked with. Thank you.
Thank you, Teddy. Thank you, Teddy. Your time is up. Thank you. Can we celebrate Teddy, please? Thank you. Thank you so much, Teddy. So let's receive feedback from the judges.
Let me go first this time around, Esther. Yeah, I think Teddy, great presentation. I know it's not easy to like put things together and present. It can be a lot. So thanks for presenting. I would say some of the things that I love about your presentation. I love how you show that you have the knowledge, right? The way place where you were saying like, you've done this, you've had this experience, and I think that is really powerful. Showing personal experiences and sharing them sometimes shows that you know your work. Um, I also love the place where you mentioned the traction as well, some of the things you've done. Although it could have been great that there's a connection between the attraction and all the other presentation, because all of a sudden I just saw school children and I'm like, or trains number of students. So I'm wondering like where is that coming from in terms of like how that is linked to the problem. I also think that you were talking about the solution before you spoke about the problem, which problem should have come first, before you get into like your solution. So there was like a kind of like a mix, like I was just like trying to connect the presentation all together. I think also like defining your solution is also very important. So, for example, you mentioned permaculture multiple times. I'm like, I don't know. I was like wondering, even if I know, like there might be people who might not know as well. So, what is permaculture, for example? Like, not that you be defining permaculture, but you're showing how it works in terms of like your solution, in terms of like how it is happening. For example, smart kitchen garden. I'm like, I don't know what smart kitchen garden is, right? So defining all of those things in terms of like your solution and making sure that your solution is clear it would have been helpful for me to be able to understand what's your solution, what you're doing, and just linking all of those things together and, piecing everything together. I think that would be great. And I think, you have like really good pictures. Those pictures you have is spread across your presentation, for example. So because I love the pictures, but I'm like, why is it at the end? Right? You should have, started with pictures and connect all of those pictures, spread it across your presentation as well. So how do you want to generate income? How do you want to continue to, like, I think you mentioned something about income. I was like, how did that come to play as well, right? So there are so many things I'm asking, like the process. So I'm just curious about the process, at which you get to this. But well done. And oh, sorry. Okay. Thank you for your presentation and thank you for showing up. I'll pass it to Esther. Esther, yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Hamed, and thank you very much, Teddy. There was some echo from your end. I don't know if you've muted now. Welcome back from that presentation. You did really well. And like everybody else has said, I really loved your pictures. I mean, you need to give us your pictures plugged. That was really good. And without repeating what Ahmed has said, sometimes you're doing a lot, but then you're making a presentation for something that might look a bit smaller. And it's very easy to get mixed up on what do I include in this particular presentation and what do I leave out. And so maybe that would be something you think about for next time presentation. Sometimes your story is really huge. You've done amazing things, but maybe you want to pick out a few things that relate most to whatever you're presenting on or that can tell the story better. I felt like at some point it was quite a lot and somehow it got you mixed up. And then in terms of what you want to do, maybe a bit of clarity also on that, because you were telling us you've worked with 7 schools, you've worked with 1,500 women, but then you said you wanted to buy a water tank. And I'm thinking, okay, where do you want to put the water tank? And so that wasn't like coordinated, and there were those gaps in your solution and some of the things that you have done. But also if you drew for us a clearer picture of, okay, now you've done 5,000 with this and this and that, your next plan is with the 250 you want to do more 100 homes or something, then you would have a picture of, okay, this is what you want to do. So again, maybe it will just help to sometimes narrow it down to what exactly you think will stand out and focus on that for that particular time. Otherwise, really nice presentation and good luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much, YxY. Our next and final but not the least presentation is from Florence. Florence, are you on the call?
Yes, I am.
Florence is a teacher from Ghana. Yeah, Ghana, West Africa. And I'll be sharing our presentation in a minute. And our learning question is, how can young school children actively contribute to environmental sustainability through flower gardening in their school environment? That was quite good. And just a minute. Yes, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. My name is Florence Ajikum, a passionate educator from Ghana, and having taught in more than 3 schools in West municipality in Ghana. And there was one thing that I realized: most of the public and private school mostly have the linear feet of their school building exposed to erosion. And I also that ignite that passion in me for me to merge education together with environmental stewardship so that there can be that beautification environment we have in our schools and also correcting this erosion effect. So giving birth to greening young minds This is a school beautification and environmental stewardship initiative. Next slide, please. And my learning question is, how can young school children actively contribute to environmental sustainability through flower gardening in their school environment? Please, the next slide. And what I aim to achieve with this project is, one, to help prevent erosion around the linear feet of school buildings, and also to ignite environmental friendly practices among young learners, and to enhance the beauty of school environment in West Municipal Schools, obviously in Ghana. Please, the next slide. And our progress so far, I've been able to create awareness and education, and the awareness and education in the sense that the engagements with learners and teachers on how this project is going to beautify the environment, and also using them as the primary participants in this change project. Please, the next slide. Then all the slide, the other pictures are just portraying our progress so far. So this was me interacting with the learners and the teachers at assembly ground. And when they bought the idea, we started using my school as an example. We have 2 schools in the compound, so the 2 schools agreed. So the children were taught on how to, till the ground, fertilize the ground using this black soil. The children brought old mosquito net from the house. And also that was amazing because it caught their attention. They always want, some of them told me they were doing that at home. So I asked them, why don't you bring that passion to this one so that we can beautify our environment? And they were all happy with that. So that's what we have there. Please, the next slide. Yeah, and these are the children, engaging with the waterways and with me helping in, nursing some of the flowers that I got. And the children also brought some at home too. I taught them on how to nurse them. They nursed it, and we brought it to school. And they were pouring water on the soil, as the picture are saying. We have them as volunteers already. Please, let's go to the next slide. These are from where the progress so far, nursing of the flowers, and how far we came during the last 5 months. Please, let's go to the next slide. And to achieve this, important projects, we need Ghana National Association of Teachers. That's a union in Ghana here. We need all teachers on board because it's going to be teachers and learners collaborating to make this project a success. We need Education Directorate because we need permission from them and their full support to help us with this project. We also need a Parent Teachers Association because we have both parents and teachers making up this association. And as children, the only way we have through them to their homes is through this association, and they can transfer this idea to their homes as well. We also need the support of the Forestry Commission. They can be our potential partners in, educating us, calling them for opening sessions and education on some of how these flowers, some are very, very vulnerable, some are fragile too as well. So how to handle some of these flowers. We also need the support of the local nurseries and gardening supply stores. We can write to them so that they can get a lot of nursery to support our projects. And also the local NGO focus on education and environmental project as well, environment as well. We also need the support from government agencies and corporate sponsors as well. Please, the next slide. Please, the next slide. And these are the gardening tools that we need. And I know I've not got to I mistakenly took out the last slide. I don't know when I was sending it to YxY, I forgot the last slide. So with the 250 is going to help us with some of these tools that we need for our gardening project. We have the watering cans, the nets, the wire mesh cutlasses, hose, the gloves, and the flowers as well. Please, the next slide. And the support, we need collaboration and network with friends of the environment groups far and near. We need support from funding and also resource mobilization opportunities. If you have that opportunity, we'll be happy. And also help share this idea on social media platforms as well. Please, the next slide. And this is the progress so far. nursery, and this is how far we have come. This is the now of it. During the 5 months of GEC, this is the progress we've chopped, and we are happy to go far when we get this 250 grant support as well. Please, the next slide. Yes, this is the before and this is the now, using these children as key players. And we pray that with the 250 support, we can launch our Green Minds Club in beneficiary schools. And in this club, we have our meetings, we have the support of the forestry. They will come in and educate us on how to go about this sustainability project and also purchase the item that was listed. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chebejira. Thanks for sharing. I will take feedback from the judges now. You want to go first? Ahmad. Anyone available is fine.
Yeah, so I was thinking, I was hoping that Esther you would go, but yeah, I would probably go. Yeah, Florence, great presentation. I think I love the way you were pacing yourself through the presentation. I think you really paced yourself well. I love how you started with like, your story working in a school and how you're working with like your students and, the problem and the challenges you've seen within your community and you've observed. Um, I would have loved to see some data, if there were data that you want to use to communicate that problem, it would have been great to, connect again, just like with everybody, connect a problem, a story to a data set so that, you can see the story in the data as well in between. I also like love how you use pictures through the process. I'm like, oh, this is cool. As I was looking at it, the before and now, makes me like be able to feel like I'm there, so I really liked, how you were using pictures to describe and demonstrate. I think at the point we were like rushing because they were like saying that it's almost 2 minutes. So, and I was I've just taken it easy because you were like really flowing. Sometimes you don't have to mention everything on the slides, for example. So you were like talking about the partners and you were explaining each partners, and I'm like in a pitch, people are like, okay, what next? So maybe you could say something like this, out of, these 10 partners that I've listed, these are the three major ones, and these are the ones we are currently working with. Something like, that allows you to just mention maybe two or three, and then, you'll be like, these are the other partners as well, and then you move ahead, so that you're not wasting time on a particular slides when you should be focusing on other ones. I wasn't um, really clear about like the impact as well. I could see the impact in terms of pictures, but you could tell us also in terms of numbers. I know you mentioned to schools, and I was thinking personally that you mentioned a good sustainability model around starting a club, but also like just talking about your own personal relationship with the school is also like a sustainability model, and I think that's something you should have probably. Yeah, I also think that your we would spend $250 was very, very visible, like because you're like, these are the materials I would love to purchase and I would love to use for the next set of projects. So again, I think this is like a great presentation and well done. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to see what you would do next and see how this continues to grow and the impact it will continue to make amongst your students as well. I also love when you mentioned that your students were volunteers. They are now volunteers. I love that. Like, okay, they are involved and they are engaged. I love that as well. I just want to point that out. Well done.
Thanks so much, Ahmad. Okay, hear from you, Chebejira.
Thank you so much, Bolabo, and thank you, Florence. That was really good. The pace was okay, the pictures, the slides. I really loved everything, and also just your points as you talked about your thing. I could feel like, yeah, you care about this. This is your thing, and that was really good. Maybe just something to look into moving forward. When you talked about the problem and you mentioned soil erosion due to linear buildings, I don't think that's familiar to everybody because schools do not look the same all through. So maybe a bit of pictures to actually show us how the rainwater come from the iron sheets and, the erosion would have made it very clear. Some schools actually are flats, so they do not understand what you're trying to say. But also, if you a little bit of in terms of impact, I was wondering, does this have impact on academics apart from and my head kept telling me yes it does, and I was like, okay, apart from just the beauty, could this have something on grades and all the things, and could you throw that somewhere in there, and that would even be more catchy. Otherwise, nice presentation. I loved how you clearly told us what you want to do with the money. Maybe a budget breakdown would help in the future, like 50 will go to this, 100 will go to that, especially in situations, maybe to all the people who have presented, in situations like this where how much money is up for grabs. It's helpful to be particular, and it shows that you've done your research, you've done your preparation well, and you could break that down as well. So thank you very much, and good luck to you, Florence, really. Yeah. Yeah, well, you called Florence the regional at some point. Maybe you need to apologize. I'm just responding to your comment. Otherwise, back to you, Volabo.
What is
I'm
happening?
sorry, guys. Is it me or Volabo dropped?
It looks like Bolova dropped.
Oh, looks like he's back.
There he is. Perfect.
Sorry, that was network. Yeah, thank you so much, Shemijaya, for your feedback. Yes, we're done with the presentation, and I want to get feedback from the audience. We want to get questions, we want to get remarks. So does anyone have anything to say? You could just signify, raise your hands in the chat, or you could you could also drop it in the comment section. That's also fine. But I think we have about 10 to 15 minutes to end this showcase. So we could take about 2 or 3 comments from the audience. So do anyone want to say something on any of the presentation you listened to? Any comments, any question, any feedback, any addition, any form of support, or even motivation to the person that presented? Anyone?
Yeah, I'll go.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to every single person who presented. First up, thank you for the work that you're actually doing in the community, in your communities, and the energy and the heart that you're putting into that. That's amazing. Thank you for your presentations and for sharing these stories, and just for being brave, doing the work, and for being brave to step up here and put that in the space. Thank you also for being open and receptive to the advice and the tips and suggestions that I shared, to be able to help you build in particular ways. I would love to offer on the Mount Cameroon project, I think Nolis Mokake, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, I'm not quite sure. And Teddy and Florence, those are the areas that I have certain connections that can be useful as learning and as community. So I would happily make those introductions based on that. And that is the way that I am able to offer some other form of support aside from $250, which which I can't offer to every project. So thanks so much, guys.
Thank you so much. Dorand. Sorry if I get that right. Thanks so much, Dorand. And for those that presented, please, you could just share your contacts, either your mails or your LinkedIn in the chat, so people can reach you for collaboration and for support and partnership and even motivation. I need that too. Yes. So any other comments or feedback from the audience? Any other one? And just to add, for those of us, not for those of us, I encourage us all to attend the closing festival, the closing session. Yes, the closing session, and that's where we're going to announce the grantees. So we're not announcing it on the call. If you are waiting to hear, I'm not doing that on the call to be announced at the closing ceremony. Yeah, the closing ceremony. Yeah, so we look forward to seeing everyone at the closing ceremony. You will get to see the winners there. So I'm hoping to get more responses from people. Let me check the chat.
Yeah, I just want to I just want to add more general comments because I know I've been giving like individual feedback to like everybody. I want to say like I have been in pitches and I know it's really, really difficult. It's hard to put yourself out there. But I think this is like a also good learning experience. So I want to just say thank you for your courage to share and for the incredible work you're doing. I think you will look maybe 5 years later, you look back at this pitch and be like, oh, I'm glad I took this step because sometimes you will look back and be like, okay, you're growing and you're building and you're learning. And it's in this moment that you learn, it's in this process where you're, grappling with an idea, building an idea, learning more about the idea. I think it's just so interesting. And I just want to say, thank you for doing this work. I think one of the things that I would have loved to see is also like how you're collaborating with others, maybe other young people within your community who are your team members. You would have loved to see the strengths of your team members, right? Who are they? How are you working with them? I think that would have been great to see because I feel like, for example, in the cases where you're doing your slide, a team member who is good at graphics could actually fix your slides for you. So you don't have to be the one actually preparing slides. Somebody within your team can do it. So how do you leverage, the power of other young people within your community to work together to create things, right? So, and how can you also like quantify some of these supports that you can get from your community in terms of like, for example, volunteer time is money. How can you quantify that in terms of like communicating impacts, right? So just looking again at your model, rethinking the model, being creative along the line. How do you even tell your story to get word out there? So what are the ways for you to continue to sustain this? Like, for example, storytelling could be a way of sustainability, right? You're telling the story so that I can get more support. You're thinking of like, how can we build more movement around this work? How can other people in other school implement this thing? Like something around like, where it then becomes a movement. Because one of the things you want to build is that you don't just want to build an idea, you want to build a movement, right? You don't also want to just build a solution. You want to create an idea that continues to evolve, right? So I think just thinking about the model and rethinking and constantly rethinking would be great. Honestly, I love your presentation. I'm glad you showed up. Like, if I have money, I'll give everybody. To be honest, like if I have money, I'm just going to give everybody because this is incredible and this is powerful. So thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much for providing that feedback, Ahmed. That was profound. Thanks for sharing. Does anyone else want to share feedback? You have the floor, or you have a question to ask, and any of the presenters, or you need clarity in something, could also do that. Anyone?
Hello, everyone.
Okay, yeah, Teddy.
Yes, thank you so much for your feedback. I'm sure we'll put all those into consideration and achieve better. There's what Coyote has just spoken about, collaboration. I would really like to because at Beta Environmental Network, which is part of Youth by Youth, YxY Global Hub. We're made of different age groups. Mostly we're all youth, and collaborating with different people from different countries, I think will boost what we are doing. Yes.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Teddy. Does anyone else want to share?
Actually, nothing to share, but just a question, please.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, like from the comments from the judges, I don't know, are there comments like questions? Maybe we can give answers to clarify them so that to guide probably their job, because they were making comments, giving insightful aspects along the line. It might be that they didn't get some part of it clear. I don't know if it's a question form. The judges are giving us the permission or the opportunity to come up and probably clarify ourselves at some part of the presentation. Thank you.
So I could barely hear you. I don't know if the judges got that,
Yeah,
but
I got it. Like, feel free to respond as well if you want. And it's clarification is also like sharing as well and learning. So yeah, feel free to share, please.
Mokake, did you get a response? Is that the response you needed?
Yes, I did get him. Okay, from what he was talking about, pictures and our slides, for me relating to that, I look forward I place most of my pictures at one slide, like two slides, just that I still on maximizing my time to take the time for you to go through my picture and see the processes of what I've been doing. Also, we were talking about with replicability, how do I look forward to extend it? Why training the women in the community? We look forward that they have become self-sufficiency. In most cases, what we even get in from them is if we provide them with seeds to plant or what they produce, they intend to donate some back to the organization. Like I myself, they donate some to the office. That's why with the $250 grant, we can request for more of what I have asked for them, like the tools and the materials, because the women we had our trainings with, they are willing to donate items like seeds that we had. Some of them have a produce that they have made go good, like cocoyam plantain to give back. Thank you. I don't know if that really makes it clear.
Thank you so much, for that. Ahmed, do you have a response to that? Any response to him?
I don't have any response. I think it was clear. Yeah, but based on the presentation still, I still feel like, I understand, our level of design might be different. But I also think like a blend with pictures and a little bit of text, that's the best practices or better practices, because I think I've stopped using best practices because best practices actually blocks you off of innovation. So, but better practices is like you actually like use, pictures and small text in communicating, your thoughts in a pitch, and just having pictures or a pictograph of your presentation, would be great. So for example, if I want to talk about impacts, I can talk about impacts in terms of like a pie chart, or I would use like a bar chart, or I would use like how things have, something that is like kind of like, and I understand like the level of design might be different. But I would suggest, or I would, again, you could use like Canva, for example. There are already existing designs there that they're for free that you can use to redesign. So, if you can just sign up an account and use it to design your slides. I think there are so many AI tools these days now that people are using to design things, so you can leverage that. But I would say that, like I said, sometimes our strengths, design might not be our strength. So having somebody in design on our team could go a long way. Like there are so many things I don't do by myself, to be honest. And I'm not gonna even lie that I can do them because I don't have the capacity to do them. But I can find somebody within my team that I know that have the strengths, and we can then work on it together. But I think also like in the beginning of like this process, it's still a learning journey, learning process. The slides I have like many years ago is actually different from the slides I'm using now. So it's like it's a growth process. So see it as like a process of growth as well. But again, what matters the most beyond the words you've put there is that showing up. And I think, is what you've done. And many of us who have pitched as well. So it's that, showing up. And I think that's what matters. And you all have done that. So well done again.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing, amazing.
Thank you so much.
Just a bit of announcement.
Tommy Baba.
It's been so great to see how all of these experiences come together, and I'm filled with smiles right now, just seeing all of the feedback and the level, the kinds of projects that are coming out of here. It is truly the global action circles, right? We're not just talking the talk, but we're also walking the talk as well. And so right about now, we're not done with the learning festival. There is a final piece that you really do not want to miss. All right, so we're going to be going into the main session now, right? You do not have to leave this room. The judges would be here